Bit of a controversial take for leisurely runners. Most people run too fast in the early stages of their running journey, myself included. When we start running, it's exciting, it's fun. We want to push ourselves each week. We like the watch and the Strava data. We like showing our mates that we're getting speedy. But often when we run hard all of the time, that ends up in us needing a lot longer recovery time in between our sessions. We also have a much higher chance of getting injured or picking up overuse injuries or niggles. And more often than not, people don't actually make that much progress because all they're doing all the time is sending it every time they get out the door to go for a run. And I think the thing is, when we start running, we just think we need to run as fast as possible to get better. And then when we look at social media, we do see a lot of fast paces and people being like, easy 5K today, and they did it in 20 minutes, but then you look at their heart rate and it was like 200 and they're just lying to us. So today we are going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about how fast a beginner should be looking to pace their runs, how we can all do better to nail our easy conversation pace runs, and how we can tell if we're actually doing them properly. And we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of the aerobic energy system and how that has a hand in building our overall fitness. Now, I'm not a big science guy, but I think it's important for us to kind of understand where this stuff comes from and why we need to do it. So I am going to go a little bit into the sciencey stuff today, but it's me. It's definitely not going to be very hard to understand. This is going to be a nice bite-sized episode for you today, so let's do the thing. Welcome to Small Gains, the inclusive strength and running podcast where we celebrate progress over perfection and chase intentional incremental gains in our strength and running. Here we believe that small consistent steps lead to big transformations in our training, our lifestyle, and our overall well-being. If you're new here, welcome to the most wholesome corner of the fitness industry. If you've always felt a little bit like an outcast to mainstream fitness norms, welcome. That is why this exists. You're going to fit in amazing here, I promise. When we are starting out, most, if not all of our runs should be done at an easy conversational pace. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, what the hell is conversation pace? If my clients are listening to this, they'll be like, Lucinda, stop talking about it. You talk about it too much. But conversation pace is just exactly how it sounds. If you are running alongside a mate, conversation pace means that you and your mate could run and have a nice little yap between the both of you without getting gassed out or running out of breath or struggling to say full sentences. As if you were talking to me on this podcast right now, or you were like talking in a work meeting. So lots of us run alone, and that's why a lot of the time we misjudge that conversation pace or don't pay enough attention to it. So if you're unsure if you are nailing that conversation pace, what we need to do is a talk test. So get yourself a few minutes into your run and then try saying some sentences out loud or try counting 1 to 20. If you can't do that without getting out of breath or having to have breaks in your sentences that you wouldn't normally do, that means you're going too fast and you need to slow down. When we think about conversation pace, if we were rating it on a rate of perceived exertion scale, 1 being nothing, 10 being absolute max effort, your conversation pace easy runs are going to be around a 3 or a 4 out of 10. So if you are a complete beginner to running or you're just coming back from injury, most, if not all of our runs need to be done in conversation pace. And that doesn't mean that you can't ever run fast, but as we're building up sustainably, we do want to stick to that. And this is coming from someone that's learned the hard way, has trained too much, too soon, too fast, has had overuse injuries, has had prolonged recoveries, has picked up niggles from overexerting myself too much, too soon. So you can absolutely learn from my mistakes here. Maybe you actually already have as well, and you started listening to this podcast to try and figure out how to nail your conversation pace. Now, the main 2 reasons why not just beginners, but everyone should be doing mostly easy running is for sustainability. It's so easy to think we should just be plowing on as fast as we can, but when we're looking for that consistency, that sustainability in building up our running, if we're overexerting ourselves, which if we're going faster, will increase the power, the exertion, and the impact that we're putting through our body, then doing that all of the time is not going to be a very nice flavor. By running easy, it means that we're not going to need ages to recover in between those runs. And that means that we can train more. If you go hard and then you need 4 days to recover, You might not be able to hit your gym session. You might not be able to get a second run in or a second gym session based on what you've got planned or what your program is. And more advanced runners will do speed work and will push themselves into that threshold pace. But for a beginner, for now, easy running all the way. And maybe the most important reason about having better recovery from easy runs instead of hard runs is that when our recovery is good, the better chance we have of mitigating any sort of injuries or niggles along the way. Injuries and niggles are just a part of running for a lot of us. It's inevitable that we might get one at some point, but we do definitely want to be doing everything we can to prevent them and be sensible about it, because we don't like it when we can't run. So that has answered our first two questions. How fast should we be running as a beginner? Easy conversation pace, most if not all of the time. And how do we know that we're nailing our conversation pace? Do the talk test, go for a run with a mate. Now, before I start talking about other stuff, I want to dip in and tell you that my Hybrid Awakening program is finally live in the Superhuman app right now. I've been building it for a while. A lot of you have shown an interest in my style of hybrid training. You want to do the big lifts and you want to do the big runs, but you just don't know where to start. And you want an easy in to try it without committing too much to begin with. It is an intro to hybrid training for beginners. You don't have to have ever lifted a weight or ever done a run before. You can do it from home or you can do it in the gym. And because it's Pride Month and rainbow capitalism is just taking over our world, I decided that I'm going to do something nice, which is give you 50% off your first month. So all you need to do is sign up to Superhuman. I'll leave the link in the show notes. Use the code HYBRID at the checkout. And the thing is, my workout program subscription is only £19. So I can't do the maths, but that is very cheap, especially for how good my workout programming is. But maybe I'm a little bit biased. I don't know. All right, let's get back into the episode. So when we think about running at an easy conversation pace, the energy system that we're using is aerobic. We improve our fitness and our endurance working with our aerobic energy system because our aerobic energy system is sustainable, and that's the key to progressing our running. So our anaerobic energy system will produce energy as long as it has the materials to do it, which are carbs, fat, and oxygen. So if our body can always produce that energy, then that means our body can always do that work. That's the energy system we want to be using as we build up, and that's going to allow us to do more of the stuff sustainably. If we send it every time we do a run, we're going to be using our anaerobic energy system, which is going to give us a massive lactic acid buildup, and we just can't sustain that for very long periods of time. So if you've already spent some time doing all of your runs as fast as you can, absolutely sending it, but you're unsure why you're not getting better, we need to be a little more tactical in how we approach our runs. And a lot of people that have done Couch to 5K end up having issues with this as well. Couch to 5K is an awesome program. It's a lot of run-walk intervals. However, what happens is often people interpret a short interval as running as fast as you possibly can and then catching your breath and then doing it again. And for speed work, yes, we'll absolutely be doing that. But when you're at the beginning of your journey and you're looking to build more endurance, we actually want to be doing those intervals easy. And this is what we do in the Hybrid Awakening program as well. This is how I build up with all my one-to-one humans in the team as well. We do those run-walk intervals, but we do them at an easy pace because we need to be able to hold a consistent, easy pace to build that endurance in the first place. If you're running as fast as you can, then you're stopping, then as fast as you can, then you're stopping, there's nothing consistent about that, so we're not able to build that endurance. And as you can see, this is now just all coming back around to show that this is why beginners specifically should do all of their runs at that easy pace. Now, you might be thinking, well, if I just run easy all the time, how am I ever going to get faster if I don't do any speed work? And what we need to factor in here is that the more that you do this, the easier that it will get. The more you run easy, the easier the easy run will feel. I said easy so many times. Our conversation pace will naturally just speed up over a long period of time as our fitness improves, as we get stronger and our muscular endurance improves as well as our cardio. And this is why we might see more experienced runners that we know or on social media or on Strava being able to do really fast runs at a really, really low heart rate, and that's their easy pace. But if we tried to do that, we would literally be balled over after about 30 seconds of trying to hold it. That would not be our easy pace. And all that's happened is that they're just further along in their run journey than you. So they may have started off and their easy pace was 9 or 10 minutes a kilometer, and they're a few years on and now it's 6 minutes a kilometer. Or for the elite athletes, it's probably a lot more. So that's why comparing yourself to other people's paces can sometimes be a bit conflicted, because we're all at different points. So even if you don't do speed work, your easy conversation pace runs will naturally just speed up over a long period of time. And you might go for a run and try and hold a conversation pace and feel like you're going super slow, but you're still not quite there. And the reason that is because if you've just started running, it's always going to be really hard at the beginning, which is why there's not a specific pace or heart rate zone that a beginner should run in. This is why that easy pace is very, very intuitive for us. We're going all off feel. And for some people that love data, that can feel a little bit alien. But if you feel like you can't slow down enough, I want you to ask yourself this. Have you ever tried to walk a kilometer faster than 10 minutes? Because if you try, it's actually really, really hard, which means that we can actually slow our runs all the way down to probably between 9 or 10 minutes. And that's still not going to be a walk. It is possible to do with good form, but it does take a little bit of trial and error. And the easiest way to kind of test that is you can just literally jog on the spot and do your talk test. And when you find that rate of jogging on the spot, all you need to do is then just start taking a few steps forward at exactly the same pace. So there's a few different ways to approach it, but if you're thinking to yourself, if I run any slower, I'll be walking, there's probably still a chance that you can run a little bit slower with good form to actually get to that conversation pace if you feel like what you're doing now is still too hard. So to finish out with today, here's some tips for nailing your easy conversation pace runs. Number 1, don't look at your heart rate. Don't look at your pace. Yes, have your watch on, record and track it in any way that you want to, but don't look at it until after. Treat these runs as very, very intuitive, going off of feel. Use your talk test, not the data. And if you're a data nerd like I am, then look at it all afterwards when you get home. It will be like a nice treat. Tip number 2 is all about comparison, and this just always comes into it at some point, doesn't it? Don't compare what you're doing to what you see online or what your mates are doing. Most leisurely runners are always running too fast. People further along in their running journey have been doing it for so long that their easy pace is always going to be faster than yours. So don't pay attention to either of those worlds. Stay in your lane, nail your conversation pace, and then your running journey is going to progress and be sustainable. Unlike the people that run far too fast too soon and end up falling on and off the habit, getting injured, having prolonged recovery, and just hitting loads of plateaus and not really seeing any improvement. And then final tip for conversation pace is for all of my people that go to a run club or a running group, or they have a community that they run with a couple of times a week. When you're doing those runs with your club, your running family, often a lot of clubs will say, this run is accessible, it will be at a conversational pace. I would say 80 to 90% of the time, they aren't at a conversational pace for everyone. And obviously so many clubs are trying to be so much more accessible with pacing so they can have more members and people can have a much nicer time. But if you go to your running club and they say it's conversation pace and it's not, don't be afraid to set a boundary and say, I'm running at my conversation pace today. So if I dip behind, that is why, because I'm honoring it. And no one's going to question that. And if anything, a lot of people in your run club will probably realize that they're running way too fast and should probably work on their easy run as well. So that'll do it. I hope it's been helpful. As always, if you want to submit a question for a future episode, I'll leave the form in the show notes. If you enjoyed the episode, do a subscribe, do a follow, leave me a comment. It helps so much for me to reach all the wonderful queer hybrid athletes that make this community what it is. And the more of those we can reach, the better. Don't forget to use the code HYBRID if you want to try my Hybrid Awakening beginner plan and get 50% off your first month. And obviously, keep chasing those small gains. See you in a bit.